Hi guys. So I want to introduce, she's like my new favorite friend. She doesn't even know it. Jennifer Sukalo. Sukalo. It's
Sukalo.
close.
Yes.
We went over this. Like I'm like I got to nail this last name. So Jennifer actually sent me her book to review. It's been quite a few months ago, I guess.
Hmm?
You released it. Claim Your Swagger was released when?
May 30th.
May 30th. And I loved it. And I'm all about motivation and anything to reclaim and revive. And Becky, she's been on in the book club enough that she knows I like to pick like a self-help book, usually like with a, I feel like we're like always like meshing our brains with the fiction, but it's nice to have some nonfiction and actually learn and educate. So I loved it so much. So let me just do a little intro and let you know who Jennifer is. So, Jennifer, she's a speaker and author, transformational expert, performance coach, and the chief swagger officer at Swagger U. Her Bachelor of Science and Master of Science degrees are centered around behavioral change. Jennifer's work as a global leadership consultant has reached nearly 50,000 leaders across levels, cultures, countries, and industries. I just got through asking Jennifer if she's coaching, and she's got so much to tell us. So I am thrilled to have you on today, Jennifer. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. And I will definitely be sharing this recording out with my audience.
Fantastic. No, it's such a pleasure to be here. I'm really glad that you invited me.
Yes, absolutely. So I sent you a few questions earlier that I want to ask. And then we'll take some questions from everybody else as well. What inspired you to write Claim Your Swagger? Was there a personal experience or a specific event that motivated you to explore the concept?
So it started actually a number of years ago. I coached cancer survivors during a certain part of my career. And I noticed when I was working with cancer survivors that when they're in surviving treatment becomes their whole life. And once they get through treatment and they've survived it, they're often fundamentally changed because it is a life-changing experience. And they can't go back to who they were because they're not that person anymore. And I always wanted to help them see cancer as a spark that creates the rest of their life instead of something they survived. So as I started writing, though, people were saying, this is much bigger than cancer survivors. You're writing a survivor's book, and we've all survived something, whether it's just life. We've all had our own traumatic experiences. We don't have to necessarily be cancer survivors to appreciate it. And that made me think about my sister, my older sister, who passed away when she was only in her 30s. And she was one of those people that was always kind of looking for the next win. I think, I'll be happy when I do this or I do that or I do that. And I always felt like she was perhaps doing things for the wrong reasons instead of truly knowing what would make her happy. I always wondered if I'd been able to help her see that she was already amazing, that she was the leader of her life, that life wasn't just happening to her, would she still be here today? And I don't know the answer to that question, but what I do know is that I can actually take everything that I've learned throughout the course of my own journey and all of the work that I've done with leaders across the globe, with cancer survivors, even in health and wellness, which I was in that industry for a number of years as well, and be able to put it into a package that people could tap into and start to use what they already have to be at their best, perform at their best, and live their best life.
That's right.
Then, I feel like I couldn't help her, but maybe I can help others. So
I
those are
love that.
some of the reasons that have really inspired me to really write the book, plus my own journey and being able to go through my own experience of knowing where I've been and where I am today, and just wanting people to be in that place of truly thriving in life, not just getting by day to day, but loving life and
Yeah.
thriving on a daily basis.
I just read a quote the other day that says, life, life is a, what was it? Life is a choice, but living life to the fullest is, yeah, like it's like it's everything, right? And
Yes.
literally like, so why your books, it spoke to me so much was because I got sick so young, and I'm always thankful. And I took all the chemo drugs. I got sick with RA, but I took all the chemo drugs, and I ended up at the Mayo Clinic, and I was at
Hmm.
22 surgeries in the first 10 years of being sick. And I did not know a functional medicine doctor like myself then that I did now,
Hmm.
but I'm so thankful, and that's exactly how I treated it. I wasn't like, oh, poor pitiful me.
Right.
I remember my rheumatologist saying, go be amazing with this. Go do
Hmm.
something with it.
That's right.
And that's what I did. And it drove me. And I'm forever grateful for having it, because I have empathy and I understand it, but also it doesn't define who we are.
That's right.
It motivates me to live every day like it's my last, because we're
That's
not
right.
guaranteed tomorrow.
No.
And that's what I loved about it, because that is how I live my life, and that is how I coach my patients. And
Hmm.
that's why I'm so like, I'm always like, don't wait until you're in the hospital bed to make a change. Like every day we have choices, you know?
We do.
Every day we have choices.
Yes.
So yeah, I love that. And that's exactly how I live my life. My brother died in his 30s, and really bad decisions, choices in his life, and he died of health issues. And I often wonder about the same thing, like if he wasn't
Yeah.
just, and people, I just did a post today on social media about about joy and hope, and enjoy it every
Hmm.
single day. Don't wait for when I retire, or when
That's
this
right.
is done, and it's just about claiming that now.
And I just posted about this on my, I do a weekly newsletter, but I've also done a couple posts on it, but about where we place our focus is what we see more of in our lives. And so if we're constantly focusing on what's bad, what's difficult, what's challenging, guess what we're going to see more of?
That's it.
What's bad, what's difficult, what's challenging. And if we can reprogram the brain, we can literally reprogram how we think. We get to choose what we think. And this is one of the things I write about so much in the book, because it is so incredibly powerful if we embrace this concept. Your thoughts don't control you. You get to choose. And
Yeah.
that means, you can decide, are you going to look at this experience as, oh my gosh, is this happening to me? I can't believe this is happening. Or what do I get to learn from this? How do
Right.
I get to grow from this? How can I develop as a result of this experience? Now, don't get me wrong. There are many experiences in my own life where I say, I do not want to go back and relive those. Thank you very much. I did them once and I don't want to do them again. But to your point, I'm grateful for them.
Yeah.
I am grateful that I've had them, because I wouldn't be the same person today. I probably wouldn't have written the book
That's
had I
exactly
not
right.
had all of those experiences that have led up to this.
Yeah, that's exactly right. No, I love that. And you're so right. Like I just did a video this past week on boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever read the book. It's called The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews. And
Mm-mm.
I was terrible with boundaries as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Even as an adult, I never was taught them. And so I struggle at 45 years old. I still struggle with boundaries, with friendships, relationships.
Yes.
And those people that it's like, you're right, it just circles around them, like their negative thoughts, their bad choices, and then they're like, why is this always happening to me? But they never do anything to make a change, and it's going to
Because
constantly
they
be
don't
negative.
step into the leadership role and recognize that they're the one in control.
Yep. Yep.
We
So yeah.
are, I like to say that we are there's a couple ways that I frame this, two different metaphors that I like to use. One is, you are the director, the screenwriter, and the lead actor in the movie of your own life. That means you're in control of all of it. You're writing the story. You don't like the way the story is going, change it.
That's
And
right.
I also like to say that we are the sole shareholder, chairman, and CEO of our life. And that means we're responsible for our performance and for delivering results.
That's right.
If we're
Yeah.
not happy with the performance thus far, who do we have to blame? Nobody else. Right here, us.
That's exactly right. I love it. I love your message. I think it's awesome. Okay. Throughout the book, you discuss the idea of claiming one's swagger. How would you
Mhm.
define swagger in the context of your book, and what steps can individuals take to embrace it?
So swagger is not the dictionary definition of swagger, the way that I look at it. So there's a couple ways that I describe it. One way that I kind of describe the word is, and I'm sure that we've all experienced this before, but if you've ever been in, let's say, a restaurant, and somebody walks into the restaurant and they just light up the room and everybody's attention is kind of drawn to this individual? And it's not necessarily because maybe they're the most attractive person or whatever it is. They have an energy about them that just draws you in. And you want to know, what the heck what are they doing? They have a quiet self-confidence and they're self-assured. They know who they are. They're comfortable in their own skin. They're not worried about what anybody else is thinking. And if the waiter passed by, you would be saying, excuse me, can I have whatever they're having? Because I need some of that. I want some of whatever they're doing. And so that's kind of the way that I describe swagger. But I defined it, and I've made the word, I like to say swagger is not just a word, it's a lifestyle that must be worked on and practiced daily. And it's an acronym that stands for self-worth, appreciation for your strengths and limitations, gratitude for how your life experiences have helped shape who you are, grounded in your core values, empowered to overcome your self-limiting beliefs, and renewed through a greater focus on your passion and purpose. And when you do the work to develop that new relationship with your self-worth, to start to appreciate what you're already good at in life, to really find gratitude for these amazing experiences you've had, and to be really grounded, not just to know what your core values are, but to live them daily, to not allow your self-limiting beliefs to get in your way, and to really fine tune and hone in on your purpose and live it daily. That is when you claim your swagger. That's when you become that person that walks in the room and lights it up.
I love it. You know, I would probably say like I I gravitate to those people, and I think that a lot of the okay, so let me ask you on a personal level.
Mhm.
You advise me on this. So people gravitate to me, and a lot of them are the negative ones and the ones that are always making bad choices. So, and of course, people that light up the room, they want more of that. But it's like I always wonder, like, why it like if they gravitate towards me, why don't they make better choices? Why aren't they changing?
Some
They just
people don't know how yet. There's a couple of reasons that I come across. One, they don't know how. Two, they're not willing to do the work. That's a big one,
the
because it
homework that we
takes,
talked about.
yeah, it takes effort. It's not like I can just go flip the switch and, oh, I've got my swagger done, check it off my list. No, it doesn't work that way. And so, and then I think there's another aspect of the reality and taking ownership. This is what I mean by stepping into that leadership role. We are first and foremost the leaders of our lives. And if you right now, if you're engaging with these individuals who are still viewing life as life happening to them and not taking ownership for the decisions they're making, the choices they're making, and what they're bringing into their life, they're not ready to take those steps and actions to step into that leadership role. They've got to create the mindset shift and be willing to step in and own their own life before they can actually make changes.
So I'm thinking this Christmas, I'm probably gonna you'll see a sales increase in your book, and I'm just gonna buy your book for all of my friends.
I'm happy to accommodate that, because my goal, not because I care about the sales, I care about getting this in as many people's hands as possible, because that's my objective, is how can I help as many people as possible truly understand that they already have everything they need. They
Yeah,
just have to start learning how to use it.
absolutely. I 100% agree. Um, in your research or personal journey, did you come across any unique stories or experiences, much like you said, your sister, related to claiming one's swagger that had a profound impact on you?
Well, obviously my own journey, which I talk a lot about in the book. And I also shared all of the stories are either real stories or manufactured stories based on a compilation of people that I've engaged with in my life. In the gratitude chapter, there are two stories that I share to help people see that, yes, you can literally have gratitude amidst extreme loss or trying to find your new normal. Those are real stories of real people that allowed me to share their stories in this book. So I interviewed them directly, and just being able to, one, have people that were willing to just share their story and be that vulnerable was so powerful. And knowing that their story was going to be helping to impact other people really kind of helped them on their own journey. And so it was just a really beautiful moment to be able to engage with those individuals, to allow them and really be humbled that they said, yes, you can use my stories. I changed the names, obviously, but I let them review the work prior to it being published, and they were just amazed and so pleased with how it turned out. And I think that was a beautiful moment during the writing of the book.
That's an awesome connection to be able to have someone that vulnerable that's allowing you to share their information and they're
Yeah.
talking about it. That's awesome. I mean, like when I see my patients every day, they come to me and I feel so honored to be able to. I literally should have your books in my office because just to be able to share that information with them. I mean, they're so broken when they come to me. They're
Yeah.
so defeated with sickness and they've exhausted every effort and I mean, I
They
see
don't
them
know
at
where to
rock
go.
bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel so honored to be able to be on that journey with them, to correct what's going on. And so, yeah, I 100% get that. Um, Claim your swagger. It seems to be focused on self-confidence and personal growth. What advice do you have for readers who might be struggling to find their own sense of confidence and self-assurance?
So first and foremost, and that's the reason why the Swagger acronym starts with self-worth, it requires a bit of a mindset shift. We have to, one, recognize that we are worthy simply because we exist. Our worth is innate. Full stop, no qualifiers needed. It has nothing to do with what we do, how much money we have, how many friends we have, what house we live in, what we've accomplished in our life. It has absolutely nothing to do with any of that. Our worth is innate. We are born worthy. And that takes a bit of a mindset shift because we've been conditioned for so long to connect who we are to what we do or what we have. And that has oftentimes placed us kind of in the courtroom. And this is the example I use in the book, that we're in the courtroom as a defendant, waiting for the judge and jury to deem us worthy. Are we going to be enough? Are we going to be able to fit in, to be part of the group, to be accepted? No. And I think the biggest thing somebody can do to really start on that journey of self-confidence, self-assuredness, is to redevelop or develop a new relationship with their self-worth and start to recognize that we are worthy simply because we exist. That's it.
I love that. So, Jennifer, I'm curious, what's your journey about? Your personal journey?
So I was a super confident young girl my whole life. So I was the middle child. I was the middle of three girls. Now I'm the oldest, which is a weird dynamic because my older sister passed away, which I already talked about. But growing up as the middle child, you always have to do something and be a little bit better than everybody
Extra.
else because
A little
you're not the
extra.
first or the last, right? You gotta kind of stand out in your own way. So I became a perfectionist and I excelled at just about everything I did in life. And not to say that I didn't work hard. I worked my tail off, but I also, when I was very young, I acquired severe test anxiety as a young girl. And I was really young. This was when we first started having, and I'm going to date myself because I don't even know if they do this anymore, but timed multiplication tests. Okay.
Yep.
So I went into the test and I had studied and I was prepared and I was ready. I got in and I froze because it was timed and I couldn't even write my name on the paper. after that, I had severe test anxiety, so much so that I would literally get physically ill the night before a test. And so I created coping mechanisms for myself because I still was the middle child and I still was expected to do well in school and I was still expected to excel. And so I created coping mechanisms for myself and I learned how to memorize. I mean, my brain is amazing. It still amazes me today at the things that I'm able to remember and call up. And I could tell you what page the information was on and what part of the page it was on because I would just memorize everything to get myself through tests. Now, part of also what I did was create acronyms and other strategies. And that's why I love acronyms so much because they've been such a big part of my life. But I excelled through school. I got through all of that. I was able to overcome the physical aspects of that over time. And as I got into my, graduate from college and I got into my early 20s, I got married really early in my 20s. My parents have been married over 50 years, still love each other, still a phenomenal relationship. And that's what I was striving for. But that's not what I found in my first marriage. So my marriage literally fell apart. It was not a happy place to be. I would literally wonder if the person was going to be getting up today. Are you going to work today? Are you getting out of bed today? Like, what are we doing? Because I just want to plan what we're doing. And I have no idea. And I know what it feels like to have an eviction notice on your door. And it's heart-wrenching. It's gut-wrenching, especially when somebody else is supposed to be taking care of that. And you have no idea where the money went. And I was literally working 3 jobs and trying to figure out, how did I get here? I was pretty much homeless, except for the fact that 2 of my aunts took me in at that point in time. So all of my worldly possessions were tucked away in some storage facility somewhere. And I was basically almost living out of my car besides being at my aunt's place. And I remember the day that I literally said, oh my, like, how did I get here? And who am I? Like, this is a shell of the person I used to be. And I remember thinking to myself in that one moment where I literally hit my own personal rock bottom, which I think we all do, where I had to make a choice. Is this the path I wanted to continue on? Or did I want to go in a different direction? And once I decided that I wanted to be going in a different direction, that was the time that I had to start really rebuilding. But I mean, I remember going through therapy during the time I was getting my divorce, which, by the way, the divorce took longer than we were actually married by the time it all played out. So it was just not a good thing. And I have no blame. There is no blame here. I mean, I went into the relationship. I'm not blaming anybody or anything. It's just relating my experience, literally. And I'm grateful that I had it. But I remember the therapist telling me this one time, I haven't figured out a reason to hate you yet. So why do you?
That's
So
pretty.
there were some pretty dark moments in my life for me as a person who was really strong, really confident, really self-assured, and then to kind of go, who the heck is this person? And I wanted to, which, by the way, I'm a super private person, so sharing all of this was really hard for me in the book. And even now I've gotten more comfortable with it because I know how important it is, but I'm really private. But I knew how important it was to be able to say, I've been through my own stuff, the good, bad, and the ugly, and I want to help you get to the other side because I got to the other side.
Yep. And people love that, Jennifer. I mean, like, that's why like my practice is so successful because I've been sick, I've been overweight, I came from nothing. I mean, like, same thing, I mean, like, and that's why I always say, like, I took getting diagnosed with RA and I ran with it. I became like a spokesperson for RA.
Right.
And I really did for like years. I got flown around the country giving speeches out on drugs that I was on. And then I just kind of ran with it. But I mean, that's exactly how, I mean, like, I really feel, and when I sit with a patient, I feel like that's where my empathy comes in
Exactly.
because I've been there, I've lived it, I know it. I came from nothing, and I'm very humble and I've been very successful. And I I want to shake people sometimes because I'm like, you don't have to go through these trenches. Just take the hop over, And I'm so glad that you wrote this book. And
Thank you.
I'm so like, I hope this doesn't come, but I'm really proud of like what you've done. Like I think it's awesome.
Thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
that means a lot to me. It really does. And as I said, what's most important to me and the reason that I did this is because this is truly me living my passion and purpose. And it's helping people really recognize and be able to tap into who they already are and just start learning how to use it.
Yeah,
They don't have to
exactly.
be a new version of themselves. They just have to start being themselves.
And you have to work on it daily. I mean, like I have to
It's a
work on it daily,
practice. It's
every
a
day.
practice. It
Yep,
is
it really
not
is.
something that you can put on the shelf and come back to it periodically. I mean, I literally practice what I preach every single day.
Same.
And if people were a fly on the wall watching me, because I'm in my home office, these are my kids behind me, my horses.
Oh, and
But
Jennifer is on a walking treadmill right now,
yeah,
for those of you wondering why she's bobbing.
yeah. I'm not drunk yet, just so
She's
you know.
drinking wine and walking her calories off.
I am. But I I practice what I preach, and people would laugh at listening to me. I literally coach myself during the day, and sometimes out loud, not just inside my head. Like I
I'm
am
the
literally,
same.
Jennifer, come on, you could do this. Let's go.
Same. Absolutely. Yeah, I've been coaching myself for years.
Yes.
No, same. Okay, so as an author, what challenges did you face writing this book? Were there any specific moments that made you question or reevaluate the direction of your work?
Well, as I mentioned early on, this whole concept of what my original concept was versus what it morphed into, it was originally for cancer survivors,
Cancer.
and then it became so much more than that. So that was one thing that I reevaluated. But I would have to say, which I write about in the book too, but I, because I call myself a recovering perfectionist, which I will be my whole life. And when you are a perfectionist, you set an immensely high bar for yourself as far as what you aim to achieve. And so I still, to this day, when people say, "Oh, I read your book," I'm kind of going, "Wait, is it is it gonna be okay? Did it
Did they like
resonate?
it?
Did they like it? Did they?" So massive imposter syndrome. And who the heck would, and why would anybody want to read your book? Who the heck are you to think you can even write a book? I mean, what do you have to offer? What do you have to give? So these self-limiting beliefs that I struggled with daily, and not to mention the fact that I never ever thought I was a good writer, ever, ever, ever. And my editor, bless his heart, he continued to encourage me throughout the whole process, and basically gave me so much encouragement along the way. But it was also having to just put all those aside and do my own work that I was writing about, and not let myself get in the way of what I was trying to put out in the world.
I love that. Yeah, I could totally. I think I would be in my head too. I mean, and I've published a few books, and I'm always like, it surprises me this day when someone's like, and mine was just on nutrition and cook. It had like recipes in the back of it, but it's still to this day because I would say, I don't know, much like you, I've been very successful at whatever I like put my mind to. Um, I don't do failure very well.
Mm-mm.
And I've been my hardest critic for sure throughout my life, on myself.
Well,
So
who's
yeah,
not? I mean, honestly,
hard.
I think we all are. And I have now come up with this new way of looking at things. It's probably not a new way, but it's my new way of looking at things. And I don't even use the word failure, because I say there is no failure, there's only learning.
That's right. If you don't learn, my husband always says it's only failure if you don't learn from it from the first
That's
time.
right.
That's it.
That's right.
So it's true. And I mean, like you learn and you make it better, and my
That's
mind
right.
never shuts down. It never shuts down unless I have a glass of wine. Like that's it. That's it. Like people, because just today I was with a friend, and she's like, I don't know how you do everything that you do every single day. And I'm like, I don't really know either, but I'm kind of bored right now too because I have too much time on my hands because my mind is like always on.
Busy. Yep.
Always on. I'm always into something. And so, yeah, I understand that. Okay, so this is a super important one. What resources or tools do you recommend for readers who want to continue their journey of self-discovery and personal empowerment beyond the book? And I did read that this was like one of three series that
Yes.
you're doing.
So here's the thing that I did on purpose. I wrote the fact that this was the first of three in the book to force me to write the next two. So it was kind of a little trick for myself to like not say, oh, I did it. I wrote the book. Now I'm done. No, you're not done. You just got started. So the first book is Claim Your Swagger. The second one is going to be Develop Your Swagger. And the third one is going to be Live with Swagger. So we first have to reclaim it. Sometimes it's claim it for the first time, but most of us, it might be reclaiming what we feel like life has stolen from us and do the work to really have the self-awareness and the personal growth and development around who we are and start to learn how to use it. Once we get that down, then we move on to how do we develop it? How do we strengthen it? How do we make sure that we've got the resolve we need? Because we all know life can be challenging and there are struggles put in our way and we can fall back to old patterns very, very easily and quickly. So how can we really strengthen our swagger and get to the point where it is, I don't want to say it's not vulnerable because we'll always have a certain sense of vulnerability about us, but how do you make it stronger to where it can withstand the challenges of life? And then the Live with Swagger is really about, okay, so now I've got all of this. Now that I've recognized I'm the architect of my life, I'm the screenwriter, director, lead actor, I'm the CEO, I'm the chairman, whatever you want to say, but I own this. What do I want my life to be? And how do I make that happen? So what do I do? What steps do I want to put in place? How do I create it and live it? So that's kind of the journey of the books. And then I'm also in the process of creating additional content that's going to be on my website that people can access and go into if they want to dive deeper into certain topic areas in the book. And so they can continue to develop those aspects of their swagger. So there's going to be master classes. I'm going to be doing coaching as well, and retreats and workshops and things like that.
Okay,
So
so let's dive into that. So give us your website.
So it's swaggeru.com.
That is so much easier than your last name.
I know, right? And Swagger U, I created that because I was like, okay, well, it's kind of short for Swagger University, and that's what
Right.
it is, right? So it's
Yep.
the place people go to learn about and to keep developing and to keep working on and
So
find a
it's
community.
swagger,
The
just
letter
U,
Yeah.
the letter
Yep.
U.com. Okay.
Swaggeru.com. Yep.
And then Jennifer and I were chatting before we actually started the meeting today, and she was telling me all about this retreat that I am like, I'm in. Like I would love to go. But tell us all the details because I know it's fresh off the press
This
today.
is like literally fresh off the presses. I literally signed the contract today with Triple Creek Ranch, which is in Darby, Montana. It's an all-inclusive relay and chateau property. And my husband and I have been there a couple of times already, and I fell in love with the place. And I always thought about, okay, what if I did a spectacular event here? And the whole concept is I spent so many years as a global leadership consultant in conference rooms and in crappy hotels. Let's just be honest. And I said to myself, if I ever do my own things, I want to be in a phenomenal place where everybody can really enjoy the entire place and the entire surroundings around them. And two, I don't want to be in a conference room.
Yep.
And I love, and I think it's one of the most powerful ways that we learn. And that's why I designed the book the way that I did is experiential learning, learning by doing. So I'm embedding a lot of self-awareness and personal development work into the activities they already have. They have horseback riding at that time of year. It's March 7th through the 10th, 2024. And at that time of year, they will likely still have snow. So you could
Yeah,
go
I was
dog
thinking it
sledding,
was gonna be
you could
cold.
go, snowshoeing, you could go cross country skiing, you could go skiing, you could do, all kinds of different events. And these activities are all inclusive, most of them. Some of them have a little extra cost just because if you go dog sledding, obviously that's contracted out, whatever. But the idea is that people will have opportunities I will provide questions and thought starters before they go on the activity, things to think about during the activity, reflection after the activity. For example, if you go dog sledding is all about teamwork. So you have a debrief and some things to think about post going dog sledding. What did you observe? What did you notice about the dogs? How did the dogs work together? How did the person leading them work with the dogs? How does this translate back into your own life? Where do you see teamwork in your own life? How does that show up for you? Are you a team player? If not, what struggles do you have with teamwork? For example, dining experiences. So there's potentially opportunities to really raise awareness through what we're tasting, what we're observing, what we're smelling. And how often do we just pass by things in our everyday life instead of truly being aware of what's going on around us? There's going to be some group activities, there's intentionality, there's journaling, and it's personalized. So there's questions that people will be asked when they work with the pre-arrival concierge to determine what activities they're going to do and also what they want to get out of the whole experience. So it's a very personalized, very intimate, because only 16 people are allowed to go.
I love it.
That's it.
It's gonna be such good fellowship too for those 16
Yes.
people. It's
You
gonna
become like a family
you will
almost.
be I was just about to say you're gonna be you'll
Yeah.
be connected for life
Yes.
with these
Especially with
people.
some of the things we'll be talking about and delving into. I mean, I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited.
I have to come out there just to meet you.
You do. Of course you
And I
do.
really want to do dog sledding.
Oh my God. It is literally amazing. I was dog sledding this one time. My husband and I were, and we were the person who was running the dogs, who are fascinating people, by the way, if you actually talk to them in their lives and why they chose to do that. It's phenomenal. I love learning about people's stories. And this one dog, the line was slack. And all the dogs were like barking at this one dog. And he said, well, do you see what's going on here? And we said, what are you talking about? See how the line is slack? That dog's not pulling its weight. It's not doing its job. And everybody else is yelling at them to do their job because we all collectively have to do the work.
That is awesome.
Mm-hmm. So there's so much that can be learned in every single experience. And that's what I want to pull out. And that's what I want to draw upon.
Yeah, I haven't been up to Montana when it's snowing. I
It's
think that would be fun.
beautiful. It's
Yeah.
absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun. So tell me, as we're kind of wrapping this up, how can people get in touch with you? Um, will the retreat be listed on your website soon?
It will be soon. It should be very soon on Triple Creek Ranch's website as well. So under the events section, you should be able to find it there. And then it will also be in the next probably couple of weeks. I'll have it on my website. I'll be working with my team to get that posted. Once they get theirs up, then I can kind of put it on mine. And that's going to be hopefully the first of many events that we have. And so we'll see where that goes. But swaggeru.com is a great place to get a hold of me. They can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I'm so LinkedIn, it's just my name, Jennifer Morozic Sukalo. But most of my social media outside of that is going to be a swaggeru_ Jennifer Morozic Sukalo. So they
Yeah,
should
I'm
be able
always
to find
tagging
me.
you too. Are you getting
Yeah,
my
exactly.
notifications when I tag you?
Yes,
Because I'm like
yes.
trying to tag you. Okay, and then as far as like all your coaching packages, everything's on your website as well.
Not yet. So I am in the very early stages of getting all of that up and going. So keep an eye out. But right now, they can certainly sign up for my weekly newsletter. They'll get on my contact list. And if they're on my contact list, I will be sending people out when things change, when new stuff is up and ready, that they can partake in. So yeah,
I
those
don't
are,
think I've actually signed up for your newsletter. I have to go on and do that. But you have to sign up for mine too, though.
yes, ma'am.
Hey, Becky, you still there with us?
Yeah, I'm here. I just muted myself. So,
Hey, did you have any questions for Jennifer before we close this up?
I just wanted to say that I work in a addiction and mental health
Mm.
recovery home, and I really think that your book would be beneficial for everybody there. So, do you have any maybe advice for people who are dealing with addictions and mental health?
Absolutely. So, one of the things, I mean, there's a disclaimer obviously in my book because I'm not diagnosing or treating anybody. However, that being said, the concepts that we cover, I find are incredibly beneficial, to your point, Becky, for people who are struggling with addiction and issues like that and mental health issues. So, what I would first and foremost recommend is that they're seeking the right kind of treatment and the professional help that they need, first and foremost. And secondly, taking that step of the first step that we talked about before about self-worth is big. And in the other chapter that I talk about in the book around purpose is one of the other, a lot of times, underlying reasons why people turn to different substances and go into addictive behaviors is because they're seeking fulfillment and this sense of belonging to something bigger than themselves. We search for meaning as human beings often. And when we find the lack of it, we tend to struggle with why are we here? And is it even worth being here anymore? And so we constantly try to seek external things to, one, either make that feeling go away or fill it up temporarily. And yet we know that all these external factors, they never do. So helping people, and the book really walks people through how can people identify and discover what their passions are, what their purpose is. And that could be a huge step for somebody on an addictive, who has an addictive personality or who is struggling with addiction or mental health issues, is to really find their sense of purpose and their sense of meaning in life, because that will support them on their recovery journey significantly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's totally true. Especially the self-worth. Lots of people
Yes.
in it, that's really a big thing. They don't feel worthy of anything. So
They don't feel
absolutely.
worthy of love. They don't feel worthy of existing sometimes. They don't feel worthy of help. There's a lot of things. And so if they can reframe their mindset around their self-worth and develop a new relationship with their self-worth, that's an amazing first step. And once they get that, then starting to uncover and peel back the layers of actually how amazing they already are and extraordinary they already are.
Yes. I think I'm gonna get your book for all my friends too. Like
I
Cindy
know,
said,
right?
everybody can benefit from this. This is just wonderful sounding.
Yeah, it's
Thank
so
you so
true.
much.
So, Jennifer, if like seriously, like if we wanted to order like multiple copies, what's the best way to get them? Like directly through you or like Amazon? What's the best
I
way?
mean, on my site, I have a book page, but I have linked to whatever, I mean, multiple sites like Amazon, Barnes and Noble, local places here where I live to support local, but it's basically go through whatever, wherever you like to buy your books.
I'll have to I'm such a book nerd. I read like a book a day, but like I try to go to the indie bookshops,
Mhm.
a lot
There are
to
some of those
support
listed
them.
on that site as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into like I know there's like probably like five within 30 minutes of me. I'm gonna try to get your book in those shops
Yeah.
as well. That way, like they're here locally for people to grab.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, for
And I
sure.
mean, let the bookshops know. I just did a book signing here locally, and I'm happy to come out and do talks in certain locations as
That would be
well.
fun.
Other book clubs if people want. Even, Becky, if you want people to come and talk at your facility or even do a virtual presentation, I mean, I'm open to any of that. And it's not about me, it's about me sharing the message. And any way I can get that out, I am so happy to do.
I
Oh,
love
thank you.
it.
That's
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Jennifer, any last words?
What I always like to leave people with is this: You already have everything you need to be at your best, perform at your best, and live your best life. You just need to learn how to use it. And that's exactly what Claim Your Swagger helps you do.
I love it. I have so enjoyed this. Becky, I think this is like probably one of my most favorite book club meetings. And I know that we don't have many people online right now, but it's probably been one of my most favorites. And your
Oh,
energy is contagious. I love it so much. And I'm so thankful for you. And I'm so thankful that you came into my life. And I
me too.
hope that we stay connected. And I seriously, I'm going to look at my schedule and I think that you might see me in Montana.
I would so love that. Please, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to check their website and see if it's up yet. So yeah,
I mean, we literally just signed the contract today, so I haven't even checked to see if they posted it, but I know we had to sign the contract, and then we already did all the work behind the scenes to get it ready to go, and then the contract was the last piece, and then they were supposed to get it up and going. So we'll see.
I love it. I love it. Becky, any last words?
No, I was just gonna say I really enjoyed it too, and I really loved listening to all the answers and discussion. It was great.
Oh,
Awesome.
Becky, thank you so much for being here. And literally, if there's anything I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would be more than happy to help you and anybody that you work with any way that I can.
Thank you.
Jennifer, thank you so much for taking time with us.
It was my honor. I truly so grateful that you guys invited me to join you. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
And I cannot wait to read your next 2 books. So get to writing.
I will get on it.
Awesome. I will be sharing this and I'm going to tag you on all of your social media outlets. I'll share this on my YouTube and then redirect it over to my social media outlets as well. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I look forward to talking with you soon.
I do the same. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great evening. Thank
You too.
you.
Bye, Jennifer.
Bye.
Bye, Becky.
Bye.